Yo, what is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 gameplay video. So yesterday, the Season of the Lost kicked off, and the brand new exotic linear fusion rifle, the Lorentz Driver, dropped as part of the Season Pass. And it's already started to make splashes on the Twitterverse and on the forums, and people are complaining. Like, some big name people are complaining that this thing is overpowered. They're saying it is Arbalest on steroids. They're saying it is impossible to flinch the thing, and that its exotic perk is busted. But is that factual? Is that actually the case, or is this another case of the day one outrages that we always get every single season? We even had the day one outrage over the Synergy exotic scout rifle. Remember that? Synergy, the exotic scout rifle that absolutely nobody uses. Day one, people were complaining that it was broken, OP, busted, out of control, was going to ruin Destiny forever if they did not change it. I don't think that was the case. But let's take a look at the Lorentz Driver and see if there's actually some merit to these concerns. So I will say, this thing makes Arbalest look silly, right? Arbalest was an exotic linear fusion rifle that was sort of a first of its kind because it went in the energy slot and it took special ammo, and it had you know, really low zoom optics. This was sort of like the answer to the No Land Beyond thing, right? Where it used to be No Land Beyond was iron sights, you know, and it was a sniper that broke sort of the rules of the ammo economy. And Arbalest kind of stepped into that gap, and it kind of broke the rules of linear fusion ammo economy and said, hey, no, I'm a special weapon, and I don't zoom in like a sniper rifle does. So you can use it at closer quarters and track targets more easily as they're moving around. And Arbalest did have to get dialed back. Arbalest did have to get brought in a little bit. Now the Lorentz Driver, what's different about it compared to Arbalest, the other linear fusion exotic special, right? Because now there's two. So I will say, when you compare them apples to apples, it seems like a friggin' no-brainer. The Lorentz Driver does what Arbalest does better, right? So the Lorentz, it tracks people through walls. Yep, gives you wall hacks. People you didn't know were there, or you didn't know, you knew they were there, but you didn't know how they were maneuvering. Well, the Lorentz is going to give you some free information. So when you come around the corner, you know where to train your sights to get that headshot, right? Even in close quarters, you're able to make plays like even like hip fire melee because you know where they're gonna be. And so that's the one thing about a charge up weapon that you really have to work on is your prediction, right? Fusion rifles and linear fusions, if you're gonna use them well, you have to predict where the target is gonna be, charge up early, and see if your prediction pans out, so you can get that quick shot. Otherwise, if you're always reacting to a player's position when you start the charge, then they have time to get free damage on you. If they're using something like a slug shotgun or a sniper rifle, and you step out toe-to-toe with them and start your charge then, and when you react to their presence, they have a window of opportunity to counterplay you before you get that headshot, or to start flinching you with primary damage. The Lorentz, well, it kind of takes that away, doesn't it? It gives you the wall hacks and the free information, so your prediction doesn't have to be spot on. You're reacting to their presence before they can even see you or know where you are, right? So it sort of takes away that skill factor of these charge-up weapons where you have to predict the enemy's position. It gives you that information ahead of time, so it shortens the window of opportunity for your opponent to counterplay you or to flinch you, or make a play on you before you have the chance to line up the headshot, right? That's the first thing we're talking about. Second thing that the Lorentz does that is different from Arbalest, because that's number one, is the free information. The second thing it does that the Arbalest doesn't do is it creates a singularity, right? When you kill somebody with a Lorentz and it's a precision kill, a headshot kill, it's going to create this singularity that's going to suck people in, and it really is like the same as the Duskfield, the pre-nerf Duskfield grenade effect. It's the same thing minus the slowing, but it yanks everybody in towards the center. Just peep this clip on Javelin 4 where I get a triple kill because I kill the first guy, and then it sucks 3 more people in. 2 of those guys were weak enough because it does 120 damage, the singularity explosion. It sucks them in and then it detonates. And that detonation does 120 damage. It was enough to kill the other 2 guys, and the third guy, I ended up chasing him down and finishing him off too because he was weak. So it yielded one shot yielded ultimately 4 kills. So that's the other thing the Lorentz does that the Arbalest can never do, is it sucks people in, helps with crowd control. And when you pair this with something like maybe a trip mine grenade or big AoE grenades like dusk fields, like charged up vortex grenades, things like that, lightning grenades, the multi-kill potential here is extremely high. If you're sucking people into a controlled area and bunching them up and then following it up with a grenade or leading with the grenade, you're going to do big damage on big groups of people for very minimal effort, right? You just got to land that headshot, and that's it. So, this thing makes Arbalest look silly. There's absolutely no reason someone would choose an Arbalest over this unless they're purely just going for the kinetic slot option. Maybe they have an energy weapon, primarily like a sidearm or an SMG that they want to use with a linear fusion. Then I could see it. But otherwise, when you compare them apples to apples, Arbalest just looks silly compared to the Lorentz Driver. What you get for the same archetype of weapon, essentially, is just, you got way more bang for your buck with the Lorentz. Why would you ever use the Arbalest? And then on top of that, this season we have a whole bunch of emphasis on linear fusion rifles. If you look at the artifact, the compass for this season, in that artifact there are artifact mods like fusion rifle scavenger that applies both to fusion rifles and linear fusions. You also have your enhanced targeting for linear fusions is there, and so you're getting these cheap mods that are going to make builds for linear fusions just a no-brainer, because they cost a lot less energy on your armor to equip these things. So in terms of mileage, you're going to be able to stack linear fusion rifle perks on your armor with other perks that will supplement the rest of your build, right? You have the energy on your armor to splurge for something like an intellect mod or a recovery mod, or mods that affect your charge with light options, or mods that affect your other weapon, right? Your kinetic weapon, whatever it may be. So I think that this season, if I had to make a prediction, you're gonna see a lot of the Lorentz Driver, okay? Because it's not just that it's a really good exotic, it's also that we have all these mods on the artifact that are going to free people up to have more options and more creativity with their build when they incorporate a linear fusion rifle. So, my prediction, you're going to see a lot of Lorentz Driver. But is it as oppressive and overpowered that people are saying on the Twitterverse and on the forums? That's a great question. You know, just because it's new, you're going to see a lot of it, right? This is nothing new. We see this every single season, especially in the first day or two, or even the first week, when there's a new exotic weapon that's tied to the season pass. People are going to be using it. They want to see what it's like. They want to try it out, take it for a spin. They want to complete the catalyst quest that they get from Banshee, and so they're going to be using it a lot. So you're going to run into a lot of it just by default because of those factors. On top of that, like we said, the artifact mods are encouraging linear fusion rifle usage. So on just those two factors alone, you're going to see a lot of it. Does that make it oppressive? Well, it can certainly make someone feel like it's overpowered because they keep running into it, okay? So even if something, even if you ran into sweet business, like every match for a week straight, you would start to feel like sweet business is really strong, like it's a real strong competitor. You might even think that it's overpowered just because you keep dying to it. But that's just because there's more of them out there, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't necessarily mean like correlation and causation, all that, yada, yada, yada. Just because you're getting killed by Lorentz Drivers doesn't necessarily mean that they're overpowered. So, I don't know. I think that it's too early to call it OP. Some things are just blatantly overpowered, right? But the Lorentz, I don't know if I'm ready to say that it's OP. Maybe we'll get there, right? The one thing for me that I would say is worth considering is just the flinch factor. Sniper rifles, linear fusion rifles, it's a really an aggravating experience for players who play their cards perfectly right? They come into the engagement not just walking around the corner at head level. Maybe they jump, maybe they slide, maybe they dodge roll into the lane, and they avoid that initial pick. And then they're the first ones to get consistent and sustained primary fire that is accurate. They're not missing. and then they still die through it. That is what is an aggravating experience for players. When you do everything right, you moved correctly, you predicted correctly, and you have accurate sustained primary fire on a target, and then they just shoot you through the flinch right to the head. That is an aggravating experience, and that's one thing that I think is worth considering. Do we need to take another look at special weapon flinch? I hate primary weapon flinch. I don't like primary weapon flinch in one-on-one duels. You know, primary and primary duels. But I think that special weapon flinch is definitely worth considering. These weapons are one-off weapons, right? If you land your shot, you're gonna kill your target in one hit. So I think that we might want to keep an eye on that. But other than that, I think that the exotic perk for the Lorentz Driver, the singularity that it pulls things in, is a very cool, very unique, exciting space magic-y perk. I don't want to see that get nerfed or nuked or taken off the table, because I really want to encourage more creativity from the developers on things like that. But let me know in the comment section what you think. How are you feeling about the Lorentz Driver? Are you using it? Are you hating playing against it? Where do you stand in all of this? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching the video. Feel free to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and feel free to subscribe for more Season of the Lost content. All right, be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.